Hi, everyone. My name is Natalie Backman, and I'm being joined today by Kate Edwards. Kate just recently graduated from Śakti Sādhanā, the 200-hour immersive Tantric Hatha yoga teacher training that I've been offering for the last few years. And Kate very graciously offered to speak about her experience with the training. So I don't want to say too much more or take any words out of her mouth. So I'll give Kate an opportunity to introduce herself as well. And then we'll just chat a little bit about what the experience was like and who she might recommend this training to for the future. Go ahead, Kate, you can tell us who you are.
Well, thank you. So nice to be here, and it's a real honor to be able to chat a little bit about my experience on the course, because it was really amazing, and just to be able to kind of amplify that and get the word out as much as possible is a real honor. So thank you for having me as well. So yeah, I'm Kate, and I'm from the UK, Nottingham in the UK. I have already been teaching yoga when I came onto the course, so I was already a yoga teacher. I'd already taken a 200 hours that was completely different from this 200 hours. And I think I've been teaching for about, gosh, my maths is awful. Let's just say 6 years, because that's what it felt like around then. And my journey along that had been a little bumpy, and I changed a lot along that journey as well. And I ended up taking a couple of 50-hour, or one main 50-hour courses, actually, with someone that Natalie knows and has been provided training for as well. Tantric Hatha course. So that was kind of what ignited my interest, I think. And I finished that just absolutely in love with what I'd been taught. But it also left me really, really like curious, and like I just need more. I just need to know more, because the practices and the approach to the practices and the wealth of information was just unlike anything else that I had experienced in training before, and the way it kind of supported your whole life, not just the mat stuff, which is also important, but it was like an approach to life, really. So yes, I won't talk too much. That was just supposed to be an introduction, wasn't it? But I was getting carried away.
I think we're on a good track, definitely. So with this teacher training, I kind of have a sense of what you were hoping to get out of it, but was there anything really specific that you were looking for?
Yeah, I think I was looking to shift my practice for myself primarily. And then from there, sorry, can you hear? There's a big aeroplane coming over. Okay. Yeah, shift my practice for myself to, I guess, just a new approach. I'd found that a lot of the ways that I had been shown yoga or offered learning experiences around yoga had really, really focused on asana primarily as like the kind of most important part, even though they were open and said it isn't. But I'd say most of the training would revolve around asana and how you could teach an asana class. And I think I was finding that the more I taught really heavily asana focused classes, the more I was becoming slightly disillusioned with the practice. I was finding that it wasn't serving me in a way that it used to. And my practice slowly started to shift into the more subtle side. So I was doing meditation teacher trainings, the 50 hours that I spoke to you about, which started to look more at the more subtle sides of practice, the power that the asana actually had in terms of energetics that could be used in a really kind of therapeutic approach that actually meant that you could construct classes that had real meaning and real depth to them, so that you could really support yourself. 1 second, my cat wants to come in. So I was really curious about those things, for myself, and also to be able to offer to other people, because I think people are crying out for ways to get closer, ways to get inside themselves, into themselves, to be able to catch a glimpse of their true essence is just beautiful. So, and that, you know, when practices are so outwardly focused, even though it can feel great momentarily, even maybe for a period of time, it's not always going to bring you to the same place potentially that when you work with the whole systems of energetics and, you know, moving through the layers more and more inward. It really supports the whole process. So yeah, I just was more curious about all of that, and about also the Himalayan Institute, about the history, the philosophy, because I mean, this stuff's been around for thousands of years, right? And like, it has some, there's got to be something in it. Like, you can't kind of bypass, you can't bypass all of that. There's so much juice in there, and there's enough juice to be going at it for lifetimes. So yeah, I think that does that answer. I think I was just curious to know more. I was like, there has to be more. I want to know more. I was drawn to the more subtle aspects. Yeah. So that was why I was drawn that way. The other thing was, I should add this as well, that I knew people like Chrissy, like Jenny, who I spoke about, other people as well that I'd known, that I knew offered Tantric Hatha yoga, that had trained with you, alongside you. And I started practicing with them more and more, and I just loved what they were doing. So not only did I want to be able to provide that for myself, but I wanted to be able, as a yoga teacher, to be able to provide that as an option for what I was offering as well.
Yeah. Do you feel like you got what you came for?
Oh gosh, yes, totally. Like, and some. Yeah, the course is just so overflowing with like juice. Like, every single module you could probably revisit over and over and over and over again, and still find new things, new information on an academic level, like sitting down and reading it, but also you would find new parts of yourself through the practices. And I think that that's a given, because I think whenever we come to sit down and learn, or whether we come to sit down and practice, we are a different version of ourselves, and therefore we will receive something in a slightly different way. But that really does, it really does count for this course, for sure. There is a wealth of information, of practices that are really beautifully broken down into little sections, so you can just take little chunks. And I think when we first started, I was slightly overwhelmed by the amount of stuff. I was just like, and because of the richness of it, you know, it can take a lot if you're going to approach it in an academic way. Like, I must read every word, I must remember every word, You know, and that's possible, but for some people, but everybody has different amounts of time and different amounts of energy and learns in different ways. So I found that actually whenever I did feel like that and I was able to voice my concerns to you or one of my mentors, you really beautifully reminded me. I can remember at one point you were saying that, you know, this is like an encyclopedia. If someone gave you an encyclopedia or a dictionary or something, you wouldn't necessarily read it from cover to cover every single one. You would be dipping into the parts that you needed, you would be taking what you could from it, and you would keep returning back. So on the learning side of things, that was a real teacher for me, because I had to kind of almost undo the way that I thought I should approach it, and just be really soft with myself and just be like, okay, because my time is short or limited. What I can do, I have 2 kids and a busy life, so I didn't have huge amounts of time to be able to sit down and do the actual learning side of things. But I did what I could, and what I could I found was enough to get what I needed. And yet there is still more that I know that I can go back and find from it in a really beautiful way. And I think that it will be a lifelong journey in a really beautiful way. So yes, to cut a long story short, I 100% have got and more what I thought I would from this course, both intellectually, academically, learning wise, but also the ability to teach. But that comes from a real embodiment of the practices, and being able to approach practice in the same way that I approach the learning, that, you know, without the rigidity of like, my practice must look like this, it must be like a complete practice. And yet, you know, there was the need to do the complete practices. There still is, and I still love that. And it's a real treat to be able to do that. But sometimes being able to kind of cherry pick from the broad range of practices that you're offered, whether it be a more meditation based, a more pranayama based, a more kind of relaxation, you know, you have the full spectrum of practices, from the gross to the subtle, to kind of go at, and they can really support you. And from that place of embodiment, I feel like on this course, which you will be, you can really go out there and then offer it from that place, rather than just from I've seen someone do it, I've gone through the motions, and I'm going to try and go through the motions and offer it out. It's kind of in you, which is really lovely.
Beautiful. Thank you. One question that just popped up for me: how was it with the course being virtual? How did that work for you?
See, for me, I love that, because I couldn't do it any other way. Yeah, all the courses that I have, in fact, I've only done one course, which was way pre-COVID, in person, or a couple, but most of the courses that have been really profound and life-changing for me have been online. And for me, because my life is busy, I wouldn't be able to pack up and leave for a period of time. It's amazing, because it gives me access into this amazing world, and it gives me access to amazing people that live all over the world. Because I think that's one of the most beautiful things about these kind of trainings, and this training, is that it really pulls together a really beautiful, supportive group of people. And yeah, I wouldn't have access to that without it being online. Having said that, I was lucky, because there were quite a few people near where I lived that were taking the course. Chrissy, who was involved in the course, is a friend, and I am able to see her. And we were really lucky in our course that we were actually able to do a little bit of it together, because there were a few of us in the UK at the same time. And that was really special. And, you know, that that showed the power of being with each other as well. So I kind of was lucky because I got to have the best of both worlds. But I think what you offer, from what I can gather, is an online course, but then you always offer opportunities for people to gather together, like in your retreats and other offerings that you do. So if being in person is really important to you, I think that there would be an opportunity for you to be there in person, which I would love, but I just don't think, maybe one day. But for people like me who it would be really hard to, we still get access to the course, we still get access to the people, we get access to you. So for that, I'm really grateful. So thank you.
You're welcome.
I don't think the online takes away, for me, it didn't take away any of the magic of the teaching, of the receiving the practices. It didn't take any of the magic away from the community side of things, when we were sharing, when we were supporting each other. And that's definitely something that grew month by month into something really beautiful. And I think we'll all be connected, you know, for a good long time. So yeah, it didn't for me, it didn't change anything like that.
Beautiful. Thank you. And if you could recommend this course to anyone in particular, based on, you know, what someone might be looking for in their lives, who do you think that this particular offering is best suited for?
I can remember you saying, I heard you say that there's a certain like calling to this kind of a course, and I think that that's really true, and I definitely felt that. It was a set of circumstances that led me to feel called to it on a level that kind of was a heart level, like just my heart calling for it. So I think if you feel that, then that's a definite yes, and like reach out, learn more. But I think if you're a yoga practitioner or a yoga teacher who maybe just needs to go a little deeper, or if you're kind of stuck in, if you feel a little bit kind of out of sorts with what you are teaching, maybe you feel like you're just going through the motions, or your practice is really asana based, you're interested in like learning the philosophy, the history, you know, some really beautiful things about where yoga has come from, and what it's all about, and the energetics of the asana, the tantric side of things as well. That was another thing that drew me to it, because that was something that I hadn't had any training in before, apart from the 50 hours, which touched on it. So I think anybody who is curious, like that is your like little nudge, your seed, your your seed of potential. It's like that's for you just to reach out, and it might not be this time, it might be next time, but be aware of those like flutters of intrigue, of interest, because I really believe in like intuition and the power of that. And I think that people will know, listening to this now, or reading your stuff, or reading your posts, they'll be able to feel inside of them if that little spark of interest is there. And if it is, then that's your sign, because if you can feel that, then that you're already in tune with the sort of the energy that's inside of you, and the stuff that you're going to be working with. You're going to be learning how to amplify that, and to how to kind of weave that into your practices, and how that ultimately will really support you, that kind of that inner voice that's guiding. So people will know, I think, if they're watching, listening, they'll be able to feel that. And that I just say, listen to that.
Beautiful. Thank you. I fully agree. It's so interesting whenever I start kind of putting these trainings or offerings out there again. It really is, it feels like I'm just sort of casting the net,
Yeah.
like letting
Yeah.
people know that it's there to see who gets called in. And
Yeah.
it's so much beyond my control at all. It's the people are out there, and then I'm just doing my best to let it be known that this is happening so that people can find their way to it.
Yeah, I love that. And I'd say as well, like, don't feel like if you're not a yoga teacher already, or if you feel like you never want to teach yoga, like, don't let that put you off. Like, there is so much in here for you to just really change your practice. And really, that's where it all starts, whether you're a yoga teacher or not. These practices and this course will really change the way you approach your practice. And then from there, your whole world changes, really. Like, the way that you will experience and meet the world will change in the most beautiful way. And so whether you're a yoga teacher or not, it doesn't really matter. Like, you're going to make the world a better place, because you're going to be living from a really beautiful space, you know, in your heart, in your just the way you meet the way that you meet the world. So yeah, I just say, don't let it put you off if you're not a yoga teacher, you're not thinking about teaching yoga. Similarly, don't let it put you off if you are a yoga teacher and you've done lots of trainings before. Like, it will be different, and you will learn lots more. Yeah.
Beautiful. Thank you, Kate. Thank you for your time.
That's no problem. It's a pleasure.
All right. I will let you go back to your family and hopefully to some rest.
Yeah, thank you.
You're
Thank
welcome.
you.
And if you have any other questions for me or for Kate, feel free to be in contact, and I can send them along to Kate. And if she's got a moment to respond, I think she'd be happy.
Yeah, I'm happy. Totally happy to receive any questions. If anyone has any specific questions, if anyone's a busy mum or just has a full life, like, I know that was one of my worries, always is, because you never quite know, like, what's going to be expected of you. Like, my first training was like a big shock because of that, and it was really hard. But yeah, I can reassure you, I can give you my experience, and yeah, happy to talk about anything. So yeah, feel free to reach out.
Okay. Thank you, my love.
Oh, thank you.
All righty. We'll talk again soon.
Yeah.
Okay.
Take
Bye.
care. Bye-bye.